Hello, my name is Rex, and this is the Variety Show. Welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Episode 2 of United States America First Party. And we're just cracking down with the Germans over here. Yeah, I guess we'll come over here, I guess, and try and outflank them. Isn't it long? I think we'll cancel this. I haven't inaugurated the president. I'm a fool. Anyway, we got some of our days back. Damry. So I guess we can go down to Disarm Nation. Kind of sabotage the US later on. Norway's joined the Third International.
Ready to move.
People criticize the president, he doesn't matter anymore.
Fall back! Move
Yes,
out!
you can go to
Move out! Move out!
So Civil War kicks off when we return to help, but at least we're saving them a little bit.
Move out! Move out! Yes, sir.
Oh gosh.
All in.
We've outflanked.
Commands. Move out!
Support Fortress. Defending America's trade.
Attention! Move out! Fall back!
Seems like a recipe for instability. Italian Balbo. Guangxi military government. Li Zongren, he's not the most successful, but, you know, hopefully he does okay.
Ready. Move, move, move!
curious. Here's the strike. This is gonna cause a problem.
Move out.
A radio. I guess we can go down basic fire control system. Go on, don't click. No, where is it?
Ready.
Romania declared war on Iron Guard, Romania. Seems like it's close. Either way, that won't be good for the oil.
Keep your
That's
distance.
true.
Move out. Move out. Moving back. Abort.
Still go down fighting over here. God bless America. I guess we'll go down. Long siege. Pastor. Long's first priority must be the offer relief to the numerous unemployed Americans all oppressed by the Great Depression, even if it is delivered via presidential executive order. The relief bill is the first step in implementing a share wealth program. Fight the anarchists. Long dreams of sharing the wealth cannot be achieved as long as the SBA is a chokehold on American labor. With the general strike ongoing since the beginning of the year, they must be brought down before America can live. To pass the relief bill. Approved.
Commands.
People's voices are louder, wealth and fear go hand in hand. From New York to San Francisco, to the rich and powerful, protested Long's election in the Hearthstone newspapers, congressional address. It is clear that wealthy, whether politically minded, are not fierce in the reforms he belongs is passing. As well as his opposition to free market policies are passed under Hoover, this has trickled down to the middle class readers who are beginning to radicalize in favor of the SBA. The people's voices are louder.
Ready. Listen up. Move out. Move out.
Opposition denounced Long's retirement, that they've agreed on little else. The Democrats, Republicans, and Socialists have been quick to denounce Long publicly across the nation in the enactment of Executive Order 7037, claiming to be an overreach executive branch and a star of sliding insincerity. Opponents have gone as far as to disobey any law that King Long wishes to impose upon America. Jack Reed has even stepped up to the podium to call Huey Long the American ingenue, and as waves around folders of recorded hate crimes committed by President Long's followers. Those men don't represent me. Political power minus 50. so they get there 21 hours. Sure, well. So it looks like we're gonna lose the Sayu division, sadly, but nothing we can do. By virtue of the Executive Order 7048, share our wealth. By virtues of the authority vested in me, I, Huey Pierce Long, President of the United States of America, do declare that the intrinsic right of poor to the relief. A new government agency will be created to mete out the basic needs of every American, so that our nation's great wealth is felt not only by the upper echelons of power, but also in the lowest hovel. Also included in the executive order is a wide array of tax increase on the wealthiest Americans. While incredibly popular with the AFP's base and hardly unexpected, considering Long's "Share Our Wealth" slogan, many Americans are protesting what appears to be a massive overstepping of the executive order. The president, executive power of the president, the constitutionality, and increasing taxes by flat, and how this new agency could manage to operate are questions as questions that has thrown the government into immediate chaos and confusion. Long's already begun campaigning hard, using press releases to rail against corporate order, which would see America fall in the center of the close rector. Sharing our wealth is the only defense. Game-based facility plus 5%, political power minus 100. We greatly gain political power.
Fall back.
Do this.
Move out.
Charles Executive Order 7048 declared unconstitutional. It is a highly publicized court case where Chief Justice Charles Evan Hughes has declared that the Executive Order 7048 is unconstitutional. This was an error court case and it was split 5-4 against the president. While news reached the White House, Long is fumed at the news that the court would block necessary reforms needed to ensure the safety of America. Charles Hughes has made his decision. Now let him enforce it. Cairo, Congress leaders of many countries. I wonder where I've seen this before. I shall defend. Packing the court. The decision of the Supreme Court to declare this executive order unconstitutional has made Long take an extra-legal solution, citing Lincoln's court packing during the Civil War as president. Long has asked the Senate Majority Leader to remove the filibuster for judicial appointees, and he has increased size of the Supreme Court to 15. It is clear that Long intends to appoint 6 pro-AFB justices to the branch that shall ensure his executive orders will be constitutional. This has provoked a firestorm of protests throughout the country, even from members of Congress that have so far remained neutral or supportive of Long. I shall defend the interests of the nation. Game-based facility minus 5%. I think I lost my unit. Well, that's that. So, we tried our best to help the Indo-Chinese Union, but anti-infiltration campaign. I mean, they're doing okay. I mean, I'm hoping they can improve a little bit more, but it doesn't look like. MacArthur and the Army remove Long. Long's support in D.C. is finally bottomed out. Douglas MacArthur marched into Washington, D.C. to restore order, while having declared Long to be a tyrant and attempted to arrest him in the White House. MacArthur's marches reminded many in D.C. of Cox's Army of 1932, except these men are motivated to preserve the status quo and were cheered instead of booed. Having been tipped off by AFP informants in MacArthur's command staff, Long was able to stay ahead of the traitorous general and has escaped to New Orleans. MacArthur has chosen to inhabit the White House and coordinate investigation in the Long executive chair. Civil war is imminent. My allegiance was to the Republic. MacArthur to democracy. Politics will change. Military junta becomes the ruling party. Public elections will not be held. And MacArthur's in charge. Son of Lieutenant General, son of Civil War, Arthur MacArthur, young Douglas was prepared from an early life for military service and said filled with concern. I forgot to do this. So I guess we'll go down Coast Guard in the meantime. So, due to harassment of West Point, Douglas became a fine soldier after serving in the Philippines and one post in Japan and diffusing potential war in Mexico. MacArthur became a field marshal of the Philippine Army. The strategic importance of the Philippines introduced MacArthur to Washington politics and his set of allies and rivals. Although he adamantly denies being a politician, he has good relationship with Hoover, conservative Democrats William Hearst, despite his occasional admiration of populist Jane Coxey. MacArthur is willing to use deadly force against social Southern populists and the forces that perpetuate the political gridlock in Washington. The Civil War. President Long declares the American Union State. President Huey Long has escaped to New Orleans and declared General MacArthur traitor to the people of America. He has gained ready listeners among the number of Southern governors, all of whom recognize that they no longer recognize MacArthur's authority and demand his resignation. Long has spoken on the radio urging Americans to support the legitimate president and fight against the tyranny MacArthur represents. Stand by the Republic or stand by the country. We're going to stand by the country and we're going to play as the American Union State. We're going to recruit as many militia as we can. Georgia.
Ready to move.
The SBA. Standoff in America. The 10th standoff was erupted in the United States. Democratically elected President Huey Long is fled to the state of New Orleans after being forcibly removed from his position by General Douglas MacArthur from New Orleans. Long's supporters have declared MacArthur's government illegitimate, as supporters of the Northern Senator Jack Reed, based in Chicago, and the Pacific governors under the leadership of Governor Frank Merriam have been deadlined by General MacArthur 30 days either to stand down or face arrest and execution. Considering all sides are rapidly raising forces, the idea that Americans seems headed into the Second Civil War is almost certain. I see. Oh gosh, we don't have any factories right now. No support equipment. What do we have? We don't have any. Oh god, we have some research. Oh, nice. Different guns, too. Construction 2. Disperse industry. Yeah, I think we'll go down. Superior fire. And I guess convoys. So, form militia into a fighting force, or formation of an American Air Force, or American Navy, back on the world stage. I think we're probably going to go down from a militia to a fighting force. Serbia crowns Alexander II. King Alexander, Regent King, what's the difference? Riots in New England, New York, interesting. Though I don't think that should affect us, but, I guess. Santa Claus take control in Minnesota. Violence in Santa Claus most expands to the city of Minneapolis. Surrounding region group could expand. Minnesota declared a state religion. Jack Reed's calls and ordered state National Guard division to stand down traitors. Building a loyal navy. Probably we're gonna go down. Cruisers. Southern governors meet in Baton Rouge. A large crowd recently gathered outside the State House in Baton Rouge to congratulate Huey Long for defying the federal government. News agencies were soon to arrive on the scene, when suddenly the crowd began unfurling the battle flag of the old Confederacy, sensing an impending political disaster. Huey Long had his men confiscate these radical symbols of the Civil War. When governors arrived, the press only saw images of a defiant America, determined to fight the illegitimate powers of federal corruption and syndicalist oppression. The governors are now meeting with Long inside the State House to determine the proper response to the federal government's deadline. A close call. North Carolina declares support for Huey Long. We welcome them. I think we might have to bleed. And Courtney Hicks Hodges. Field Marshal George S. Patton. Longest Moses take control in Tennessee. Nice. Second Declaration of Independence. While many Southern governors were in favor of drafting a new constitution on the spot to urge and emulate the original rebellion against the British monarchy prevailed, the Second Declaration of Independence was drafted in Baton Rouge. Over the course of a few days, painstakingly emulating the original conceit of the American Revolution, this declaration outlined the lack of protection of the federal government that gave citizens a role state protect against welfare of the poor. The signatories declared that it was within their constitutional right to organize a militia against tyranny, and that the federal government's deadlines should not only be ignored, it must be defied. Amulet Separatist. Okay, jeez, I didn't see these guys. Just gonna go.
Listen up. Ready to move. Ready.
Box cutter. Seven militia in northern Texas.
Yes, sir.
Senator Claus victorious in New York. The battle between Senator Claus forces. An unfortunate loss. It seems they just gained Pennsylvania, but Chief of Staff with the Civil War eliminated the fact that we do have a Chief of Staff. Probably want to go for George Van Horn Mosley. Federal revolt fails in Texas. While the state of Texas firmly declared its allegiance to Union law, forces that are loyal to the federal government have been hot contention and control. The battles have been raging across the southern portion of the state. Governor James Allred already held a conference with several southern governors would unite to support law in the proper American government. A welcome victory. The American State Union Congress convenes. Through the grapevine, dozens of congressmen have heard Huey Long's assembly in Baton Rouge. Some came to wish Huey Long well, and stayed. Others simply began to court favor with the revolution. These meetings in Baton Rouge began a congressional appearance with Coughlin standing as president of the attending senators, aware of the growing determination to defy the federal government. This lack of willingness to negotiate meant civil war, but also certain numbers of politicians have slinked away to the north. So these remains more determined than ever to see a victory. They'll get theirs. Iowa declares support for Reed, with both Cedar Rapids and Iowa Syndicalist forces Iowa declared for Jack Reed. Without doubt, Governor Gratchell Senator Assembly. He foresaw a quick collapse the state once the war began and elected to switch sides before things went too far. Several reports of riots in Des Moines have preceded the withdrawal of Loyalist forces from the region. Unfortunate loss. Chief of Army. Probably want to go. George Smith Patton Jr.
Ready.
The Mog League declared war in Tibet.
Orders. Ready to move. All in. Listen up. Commands.
So, you may just be ending in just a few minutes, but oh gosh, we forgot to do this. So, well, 7 Militia, North Carolina. Chief of Air Force, Charles August Lindbergh, with the Civil War limited. The fact that we don't have a Chief of Air Force has made prompting concern, thus with Huey Long appointed Chief of Air Force to win this war. Charles August Lindbergh. Deadline looms as the federal government. As the federal government deadline looms, it becomes clear there will be no budging either side from part of the country. The old Long supporters formed the army of militia and Minutemen from raise a growing determination to see country made us force hold. The federal government in turn has made it clear that they no longer see a path to compromise. It is only a matter of time. Second American Civil War. Trudeau is not in the know. It may seem like the crisis in the United States came out of nowhere, but experts agree that the Civil War was years in the making since the collapse. Agrees that the years in the making since the collapse of the United States stock exchange in 1925. The economy of the United States has been in sluggish and mired in deep recession. The supporters of the federal government and the combined syndicates of democratic rule in the Pacific States Americas, volunteers are pouring in from around the world to support one faction or another, with some characterizing bitter ideological conflict or simply part of a wider global clash of ideals. The destiny of America is at stake. The United States of America declare war on the Pacific States of America, the American USA declare war. We all declare war on each other. Pacific States of America has, geez, quite a lot. Well, at least we got some factories. Any more Paper factories, yeah. Well, it might be time for me to go, but I'll see you guys another time.